Do I need to wear a life vest every time I swim if I have seizures?
It depends. It depends on the, for example, the swimming pool. When the lifeguard is on board, I don't think so. You can swim without it. But going to an open environment like a lake, those kind of situation, I would highly recommend life jacket. But even in that situation, there should be the help should be around you.
I agree with Dr. McCluse about the swimming issue. The biggest question that I get from my patients has to do with swimming at a beach where there's surf, swimming at a lake, and I label those situations as swimming in black water where you can see the bottom. So it's going to be a rescue issue if you have somebody having a seizure while in those situations. I don't strongly advise people to wear life jackets, but it's probably prudent. And the other question is, if you wear a life jacket, what kind of life jacket should it be? Life jackets have different designs, and the safest designs for people who are prone to seizures are the ones where if you are unconscious, it'll keep your head above water. And sometimes that is those old-fashioned Mae West jackets, that the orange ugly vest that they have, instead of the more sleek designs that are there now. But keeping the head above water is very important in those situations. And the same goes for boating. And by the way, anybody who has seizures should not be scuba diving. If you have a seizure while at depths where you're at risk for the bends, that will be very bad. And the consensus amongst epileptologists is that you should not or you must not scuba dive if you're prone to seizures.
Thank you.
Can I, do you mind if I interject? Just another question on the swimming and all of that. But would it be similar to, even though there's laws about the driving in 6 months seizure free, would there be less concern about life jackets, scuba diving, et cetera, if seizures are under control for an extended period of time?
Not being a scuba diver, I can't give you a definitive answer. But one of the issues with scuba diving is that you're not putting anyone else at risk. But I do believe, as far as scuba certification, that is a contraindication. Having seizures is a contraindication to certification. But I may be wrong.
As a general common sense thing, for example, I know our teenagers, they go with common sense. So the common sense thing is that, for example, if you do skydiving, something happen in the middle of the air, who will reach there? Nobody. Something, if you are deep inside the water, if something happens, who will reach there? Nobody. If you are on a rope and something happened to you, who will reach to you? Nothing. So any situation where reaching help is difficult, for example, bungee jumping, you just jump you go to Cedar Point and do but if something happens, so it's very hard to stop it. So in those kind of situations should be avoided. But having a seizure does not mean that you will not enjoy life anymore. It's just few things in which getting help would be difficult. Those are the situations where you have to be careful.
Yeah, I would second that, because see, I get these questions that, hey, can we do roller coaster rides? I'm going to say, if I'm going to start saying no to everything, then the patient is going to get depressed, and they're going to be like, oh my, remember, depression, anxiety is seen in a huge amount of population who have epilepsy. And on one hand, you also want to make sure you kind of give them a little bit rosier picture of not everything is a no for them, but also the safety is important. So for the roller coasters, I do the same thing. Hey, if you have a seizure when you are on the ride, remember, no one is going to save you till that ride is done, because it's going to be crazy ride. Everyone is shouting and they have no clue what's happening, and they think you are just having fun. So they understand that. So I have I had patients who have had seizures after a roller coaster ride? I have had a few, and they took the risk. I mean, to say, ultimately, it's so you're right. If it's not controlled, it's a no. If it's controlled, still there is a huge risk, because there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of tension, stress happening, and when your brain is going up and down, there's probably some concussions happening, and all those can kind of act as a quick trigger to have, a small seizure could happen. It's a tough one. It's going to be ultimately at the decision of the patient, but they're making that choice. Maybe simpler rides. I just say them, yes, do have some social fun, but try to channelize it maybe in a different fashion. Don't do bungee jumping, but do something different, something easier, something lighter.